A very good evening to you all, and many thanks for joining us here on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you have yourselves a very productive Tuesday. Now, starting off with our headlines. The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, indicates that refusal to reveal where bodies were dumped is a form of genocide ideology. In the United States of America, individuals who hesitate to acknowledge the right name for the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 were urged to embrace honesty and adopt the appropriate terminology. We're very glad to have your company tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali, and my name is Martina Abera. Now, the Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, indicates that refusal to reveal where bodies were dumped is a form of a genocide ideology. He made the address during an event to commemorate the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi at Ntarama, Bugesera district. Sam Kalisa has more.
Ntarama, like other parts of Bugesera district, has a long history of persecution, discrimination, killings and hatred since 1959. Survivors believe that what happened in 1994 of what through for more than 30 years. They took me together with my kids. When we reached at the swamp, there were many Interahamwe militias. They started saying, "Don't kill them here, because the Inkotanyi are near." We escaped them and went where the Inkotanyi were, and that's how we survived. The RPA soldiers who came from Gako attacked and fired at the camp that they had established here. Then killers fled. When Inkotanyi reached here, people started coming back from the swamp. It was on an evening like this. Unimaginable brutality targeted the Tutsi in the area, many of whom were killed before the help of RPA in Inkotanyi arrived. They are still requesting perpetrators, as well as others with the information on where their loved ones were dumped, to provide the details so that they can be given a decent burial. Those who were my neighbors refused to show me where my child, as well as husband, were dumped. I didn't even see any of my relatives. I wish at least they could show us where they dumped them so that we can give them a decent burial and be able to grieve them. I request the perpetrators, our fellow Rwandans, to be merciful enough to show us where our loved ones were dumped so that we can lay them to rest. We have forgiven them already, even though they have not begged for it. The Minister of National Unity and Civic Engagement, Dr. Jean Damascene Bizimana, noted that the fact that behaviors like this is still evident indicates the extent on which hatred was spread and taught, later resulting into the genocide against the Tutsi.
Twereka rero yuko iyo ingengabitekerezo nk'iyo ibifite imizi miremire.
This shows us that such ideology is deep-rooted, and whenever the ideology of hatred still exists and is not uprooted, perpetrators cannot reveal where they dumped the bodies. It is necessary to understand how this ideology was.
Ni ngombwa rero kumenya iyo miterere y'iyo ngengabitekerezo yari ite yari imeze ite.
The Ibuka representative noted that such behaviors are inappropriate for the people who have been forgiven and cared for by the RPF-led government. During the event, 120 bodies were accorded a decent burial after being discovered from the sectors of Ntarama, Ngogo, Nyamata and Musenyi.
In the United States of America, individuals who hesitate to acknowledge the right name for the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 were urged to embrace honesty and adopt the appropriate terminology, which respects the historical truth without negating it. This was reiterated during the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi held at Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., United States. Adam Squizera with more.
Members of diplomatic corps, Congress, academia, media, Rwandan community and friends of Rwanda gathered together at the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. to honor the lives of the victims of the 1994 genocide against Tutsi. U.S. House Representative Trent Kelly condemned those who continue to use the wrong name of the genocide against Tutsi in 1994. He noted that no one can deny its evidence and said that he wrote to the administration of the United States Foreign Office to use the right name.
Facts are the facts. It is not the Rwandan genocide, it is the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. I call on the State Department and the administration to call it exactly what it is. I've introduced a resolution, House Resolution 256, calling for the United States to adopt the official definition of genocide. We have a moral obligation to ensure that the lessons of history are not forgotten and that the voices of victims are heard.
Corina Sanders, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for African Affairs at the U.S. Department of State, emphasized that due to the efforts of Rwanda in fostering unity and reconciliation, caused the world to oppose anyone spreading the genocide denial and ideology.
As we join in remembering the victims and reaffirming our support for the people of Rwanda in their continued efforts for unity and renewal, we oppose any attempt to misrepresent the historical record for political purposes. In particular, we strongly oppose any denial or minimization of the genocide that targeted Tutsi.
Ambassador of Rwanda to the United States of America, Mathilde Mukantabana, underscored that failure to use the appropriate name for the genocide can contribute to perpetuating related acts of denial and ideology.
The correct terminology is not a superficial or a trivial matter because it has given rise to genocide denial, but also to kind of turn victims into perpetrators and vice versa. So naming it for what it is, because the definition itself of genocide is against a specific group.
Dr. Selene Jacquemet, a professor at the University of St. Mary's, San Antonio in Texas, noted that the international community should have gleaned valuable lessons from the genocide against Tutsi.
There are two really important lessons. The first one, in understanding what happened in 1994 during the genocide that was planned specifically against Tutsi. One is to realize that the international community needs to do much better at understanding the biases that each actor provides. And so listening to representative of the Rwandan government at the time inside of the UN Security Council, when those were the people who were planning and executing the genocide against Tutsi in 1994, that was a great mistake, and it's a hard mistake to get around because those were the Rwandans that they could talk to every day in UN Security Council.
The Minister of Justice and the Attorney General, Dr. Emmanuel Ogira-Shebuja, shared insights on how remembering and honoring the victims of the 1994 genocide against Tutsi serves as a crucial step in preventing future genocides. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams, for that report. Members of the Global Trade Union representing hotels, restaurants and bars visited the Kigali Genocide Memorial at Gisozi on Tuesday. They emphasized that commemorating the genocide is a collective responsibility and underscored the importance of unity in nation building. Olive Nete has the report.
During their visit to the Kigali Genocide Memorial, the delegation learned about the tragic history of the genocide against the Tutsi, including its planning, execution, and how it was stopped. They laid wreaths on graves and paid tribute to more than 250,000 victims of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi buried there, Alfred Mudiemana, who worked at the Meridien Hotel during the genocide, reflects on his experiences. He recounted the horrors of witnessing the torture of Tutsi people and the loss of many of his family members during the genocide. Despite the immense grief, he resolved not to succumb to despair, but to instead focus on personal growth and development as part of the journey towards healing and progress.
Be strengthened, let's refuse to succumb to despair, and together, let's rebuild our souls.
Flora Nyiratsinda, the Secretary General of the Trade Union of Hotel and Restaurant Workers in Rwanda, emphasizes the significance of commemorative activities in fostering a deeper understanding of the country's history and its role in the reconstruction process. Our objective in participating in this commemoration activity as hotel employees during these 100 days due to commemoration allows us to delve into our history, and without understanding our past, it is challenging to progress towards a brighter future. By bringing employees here to learn about the genocide's history, we equip them to stand against such atrocities from occurring again. Jeffrey Boyd, International Officer for Campaigns and Communications at the International Union of Food, Farm and Hotel Workers, commends Rwanda for upholding commemoration activities, recognizing their profound importance in preserving history for future generations.
It is a very terrible story about the darkest side of humanity, but it is also an incredibly hopeful story about the people who stood up and fought back. And it's also an incredible tribute to this country that the work of remembering the genocide is so important, and that the country remains committed to remembering but also finding a hopeful way forward, and that is truly inspiring.
The syndicate of employees of hotels from around the world are in Rwanda for a 2-day conference.
While residents complain about the sharp increase in insurance prices, the Central Bank of Rwanda noted that the relevant authorities are revising the law that regulates insurance and its prices. Sam Kalisa with more.
Viateur Hakizimana has worked as a motorcyclist for 15 years. He proudly notes that he has never been in a major accident, highlighting that despite paying insurance premiums each year, he has never made a claim for compensation. I started around 2010 or 2012, and later I stopped to get the license as I was doing it against the law. People used to drive without licenses, but the Rwanda National Police encouraged us to seek permits. The 44-year-old says insurance premiums have been increasing over the years. If possible, kindly help us with advocacy so that the President of the Republic can help us address certain problems, especially high insurance premiums. When I started in 2012, we were paying 45,000 as insurance premium. In 2015, it had increased to 50,000. After COVID, the insurance premium was 65,000, and currently I've paid 186,000. The Rwanda National Police indicates that at least 15 motorcycle accidents happen every day, with motorcycles and bicycles accounting for more 50% of the total accidents that take place. Motorists share their opinion on the matter. A car which carries 6 people pays 90,000 as insurance premium, while a motorcycle which carries 1 passenger pays 180,000. That is discouraging us. When a car is involved in an accident, the risk is higher, yet we pay higher insurance fees. Motorcyclists have voiced ongoing dissatisfaction with the high insurance premiums for their bikes. Meanwhile, insurance companies argue that motorcycle accidents result in significant financial losses for them. Despite our request, the Rwanda Insurers Association has remained silent on the matter for the past 10 days. However, the central bank governor, John Rwangombwa, has stated that the laws governing insurance are currently undergoing revision. We are on the right track of providing the needed stability in the insurance sector. The law is meant to reduce claims in cases of accidents. It has been introduced and yet to be endorsed by the government and approved by the parliament. That is what I can say for now. Some of the issues that used to hinder motorists, including high taxes charged by cooperatives, have been addressed. They say reducing insurance premiums can be a great boost to their living standards and that of their families at large.
That was Prisma Zirada with our report. Now, 30 years since liberation, Rwanda's private sector has grown significantly. In the current fiscal year, the sector is expected to contribute 21% to the country's gross domestic product. Sam Kalisa with more.
One of the factors for the remarkable growth of the private sector in Rwanda has been working in cooperatives. A clear example is the 157 individuals who came together to form a cooperative for the development of carpentry, general crafts and other related activities at Darwa. The cooperative's building is currently valued at 2 billion Rwandan francs and the trading activities of more than 6 billion Rwandan francs investment capital. At least 10,000 people work from this place every day. Every member uses 10 to 15 workers every day. There are about 95 workshops in this place, each with at least 5 machines. There are other equipment like timber. Each workshop can be valued at least 60 million Rwandan francs. Another factor for the growth of the private sector is favorable taxation system and laws, as well as the country's quality standard levels that open doors for foreign markets. My living standards changed. I started working here when I was a young man. I'm now a grown-up man. I have a family, and all my children have finished the university, thanks to the work I do here.
ahanini harimo kudusonera imisoro imwe n'imwe kugira ngo tubashe kubaka ubushobozi bw'uruganda.
We are exempted of some taxes, which helps us to build the capacity of our industry. We were also given standard certificates, which allows us to sell even in international markets in America and other countries.
Bitewe nuko uyu munsi dufite ibyemezo by'ubuziranenge bibasha gukoreshwa no ku rwego mpuzamahanga.
In the past 30 years, private sector practitioners confirmed that no single commercial bank in Rwanda was able to offer a loan of approximately 800 million Rwandan francs, even with the collaboration of multiple banks. Banks were almost non-existent, to the extent you wouldn't be able to get 800 million to 1 billion Rwandan francs of loan. Maybe 5 banks altogether could give you that money. Today, one bank, for instance, the Bank of Kigali, can offer up to 50 billion Rwandan francs of loan. Even the microfinancial institutions can offer 7 to 10 billion Rwandan francs. Today, no one needs to go to different banks to be able to get large sums of credit. One bank is enough. In 2023, foreign investment in Rwanda reached $2 billion from $1.6 billion in 2022. More than $3 billion worth of investment activities have been undertaken in the Kigali Special Economic Zone, leading to the employment of over 15,000 people with an additional 8,000 working as laborers.
byafashije cyane cyane leta y'u Rwanda mu kugabanya ibitumizwa mu mahanga.
It has helped the government to reduce imports. Currently, we have industries that produce construction materials like cables, iron sheets, metallic, and we have textile industries which helps to reduce the import of second-hand clothes. There are pharmaceutical and nutrition industries which has helped to reduce malnutrition among children as well as pregnant mothers. These industries have significantly contributed to Rwanda's economic growth. They pay taxes, but also help in training Rwandans.
abanyarwanda batari bafite amahirwe yo kubona amashuri ahanitse.
The report of the World Bank for the 6th month of July to December 2023 indicates that private investment has increased from 12.7% of the country's gross domestic product in 2007 to 15.8% in 2022. By the end of June 2024, it is expected that private investment will reach 21.2% of the country's gross domestic product from 14.4% in 2017.
And on behalf of the news production team as well as the technical team, we'd like to thank you very much for sticking with us on RTV News. My name is Martina Abera. Stay safe and have a great night.